The series begins, and we see a group of students assaulting their classmate, Gyeong-soo, in retaliation for reporting their misconduct. Gyeong-soo is severely beaten, but soon his demeanor begins to shift. His eyes turn red, and his movements become erratic and violent, as if he is transformed into a zombie. In a frenzied state, he attacks the other students, seemingly unaware of his surroundings. In the chaos, he ultimately falls from the building. The students initially believe Gyeong-soo may be dead. However, one of them suggests taking him to the hospital, fearing that if they don't act quickly, they could be held responsible for the incident. The scene shifts to the hospital, where Gyeong-soo is shown in critical condition. His father, Mr. Lee, arrives to visit him. During their conversation, Gyeong-soo explains that he lost control because the boys had been harassing him. Mr. Lee responds with quiet reassurance, telling his son that he did the right thing. Suddenly, Gyeong-soo begins transforming into a zombie once again. In a panic, Mr. Lee reaches into his pocket for an injection, but finds nothing. Faced with no other option, Mr. Lee picks up a nearby book and uses it to violently strike his own son, repeatedly, until Gyeong-soo takes his final breath. Mr. Lee carefully places his son's body into a suitcase and begins to carry it away. As he walks, Gyeong-soo's hand suddenly slips out and grabs hold of his father's wrist. At that moment, multiple injection marks become visible on Gyeong-soo's arm, hinting at a disturbing truth that Mr. Lee had been experimenting on his own son. Despite the brutal beating, Gyeong-soo is still not dead. The scene changes, and now we're shown a high school. In South Korea, it is customary for students to take responsibility for cleaning their own school. Following this tradition, the students are seen tidying up the premises, engaged in their tasks while laughing and joking among themselves, seemingly unaware of the looming danger. Suddenly, a girl hears strange noises coming from the science lab. Curious, she approaches and notices a box trembling on the table, with loud sounds coming from within. When she lifts the lid, she discovers a small, seemingly adorable white mouse inside. However, this innocent appearance hides something far more sinister. The mouse bites her finger, drawing blood. As she stands there in shock, clutching her bleeding hand, Mr. Lee appears before her. It is then revealed that Mr. Lee is the science teacher at the same school where Gyeong-soo was a student. Upon noticing the drops of blood on the floor, his expression changes. Without saying much, he prevents the girl from leaving and quietly locks her inside the same lab, leaving her trapped with whatever dark secret lies within. The scene then changes to the main character, a student named San, who meets his childhood friend, Anjo. San invites Anjo to eat at his mom's restaurant. Two more friends join them, and they all enjoy the meal together. While eating, they talk about their science teacher, Mr. Lee. They say he has been acting weird lately. Ever since his son went missing, Mr. Lee has started doing strange things. One day, he even walked out of class without saying anything. One friend also says that he smells really bad now. Anjo then asks San if she looks better with her hair on one side or the other. It's clear that San really likes Anjo. Next, we see the school being checked at night. During this time, the same girl from the lab is shown with her hands tied. We don't know yet why she's tied up, but the reason will be explained later. Then we see Anjo and her father. He kindly reminds her that her grades are not good and tells her to study more. We also learn that San and Anjo live in the same apartment building. Every morning, they go to school together and play a small game on the way. The rule is simple. Whoever wins carries both school bags for the day. Before class, all the students gather outside the school. Their school has a strict rule. Everyone must arrive on time. If a student is even a little late, they're not allowed to enter and have to stay outside. Meanwhile, we see a building that is still being built. This place is connected to the group of boys who bullied Gyeong-soo at the beginning of the story. Now, a girl and a boy are facing those bullies. The girl looks scared, and her clothes are torn. She is forced to sit in a helpless way. The boy with her is accused of telling a teacher about the group. As a punishment, the bullies tell him he has to record a video of the girl. We are now introduced to another student named Soo-yeok. He walks up to the group and firmly tells them to stop what they're doing. Then, he takes both the girl and the boy away from the scene. Soo-yeok used to be part of that gang, but now he has changed and become a better person. When Anjo sees Soo-yeok, it becomes clear that she doesn't like San the way he likes her. Instead, she has feelings for Soo-yeok. Back in the classroom, the school day begins. A girl wearing a pink sweater walks in angrily. Earlier, one of San's friends had pushed her, and she's still upset about it. The teacher comes in and collects everyone's phones before starting the class. During the lesson, the teacher asks the students about the girl Mr. Lee had caught earlier. The students say they last saw her in the science lab. After that, no one saw her again. Worried, the class teacher goes to talk to Mr. Lee and asks where the girl is. Mr. Lee says, "I wasn't at school yesterday, so I don't know anything about it." Suddenly, a strange sound comes from a nearby room. Mr. Lee quickly says, "It's just a rat I'm keeping for an experiment." After the teacher leaves, Mr. Lee goes back to his lab. He starts recording a video and writing notes. He says, "I've captured a girl who was bitten by a rat. Her condition is getting worse, and I don't know what will happen next." It becomes clear that Mr. Lee is doing experiments like a scientist, but now, he's not just working with animals, he's testing things on humans too. The girl's condition seemed to be getting worse, so Mr. Lee decided to give her an injection. It appeared to help, as she began to feel a little better. Still frightened, she pleaded with him, asking not to be harmed. Mr. Lee, however, explained that he had no other option, that this was the only way he believed he could help her. Meanwhile, the scene shifts back to the classroom, where Mr. Lee was seen teaching a lesson on viruses. Among the students were the same boys involved in the earlier bullying incident. The girl, clearly still shaken, sat quietly in her seat, tears streaming down her face as the class continued. What the students didn't realize was that Mr. Lee's knowledge about viruses didn't come from textbooks alone. He had already been carrying out secret experiments. Back in the lab, the girl who had been tied up began to change in disturbing ways. The virus had fully taken control of her, and she was no longer herself. With unusual strength, she managed to break free from her restraints, setting the stage for what was to come. Another student in the classroom, not feeling well, quietly asked the teacher if she could step outside. The lesson continued as usual. But then, to everyone's shock, the same girl who had been seen earlier in Mr. Lee's lab walked into the classroom. Her condition had clearly worsened. She appeared extremely weak and frightened. The class teacher immediately tried to calm the students, instructing them to stay silent and not speak about what they were witnessing to anyone outside. The girl, still shaking, began to speak with difficulty. She claimed that Mr. Lee had kept her locked up, given her injections, performed experiments on her, and even tried to kill her. Hearing this, the teacher responded that the first priority was to take her to the hospital. They would inform others only after confirming the details. Suyok stepped forward to assist, and Anjo, seeing him act, chose to help as well. Together with the school nurse, the class teacher examined the girl. They expressed serious concern about her condition, noting that it was critical and that she might need to be rushed to the emergency room. But before they could act, things took a terrifying turn. The girl began to change, losing control of her body as the virus fully took hold. She became violent, and no one could hold her back. Meanwhile, in the classroom, students had started whispering among themselves. Many were confused and scared, questioning why the girl had named Mr. Lee. Some began to recall how strangely he had been acting since the disappearance of his son, Gyeong-soo. Others remembered that the girl had once been part of the group that bullied Gyeong-soo. A disturbing thought began to spread. Could Mr. Lee be trying to take revenge? At this point, the class president is introduced. She appeared to be so deeply focused on her own studies that she seemed unaware of the growing tension in the room. No matter what was happening around her, she remained silent and absorbed in her books. Soon after, the ambulance arrived. The sick girl was gently placed inside, her condition still uncertain. Concerned, the class teacher turned to the school doctor and quietly asked if she was feeling all right. Meanwhile, Anjo and Soo-hyuk were walking back toward the classroom together. As they walked, Anjo gathered the courage to express her feelings. Without saying much, she handed Soo-hyuk a small badge with her name on it, a simple gesture that clearly showed she wanted to be closer to him. Soo-hyuk looked at her, slightly confused, and asked whether she had feelings for San. Anjo calmly told him that San was just a good friend, and that she didn't feel anything more than that. Their conversation was cut short when San suddenly appeared. His untimely arrival upset Anjo, who walked away without saying another word. Left standing there, Soo-hyuk turned to San and asked if there was something going on between him and Anjo. At the same time, Mr. Lee returned to his lab, only to find that the girl he had been experimenting on had escaped. Fearing the consequences, he rushed out to try and find her before it was too late. Elsewhere in the school, the class teacher, along with a few other staff members, caught up with Mr. Lee and escorted him to the principal's office. Mr. Lee tried to explain the urgency of the situation. He warned that taking the girl to the hospital was extremely dangerous and insisted she needed to be brought back immediately. But the principal refused to listen. He reminded Mr. Lee that any action involving students should have been reported to the school first and that the police should never have been involved. Feeling ignored and frustrated, Mr. Lee reminded the principal of how his son, Gyeong-soo, had suffered in the past. He accused the school of turning a blind eye when help was needed most. But before he could say more, the police arrived, summoned by the principal. Meanwhile, another troubling development was unfolding. The school doctor had been bitten on the hand. At first, she tried to remain calm and composed, but her condition quickly worsened. Before long, she too began to change, slowly transforming into a zombie. It's lunchtime, and students begin making their way to the cafeteria. Anjo, walking with her friend, mentions that she has something to share. Curious, her friend encourages her to speak. Anjo then admits that she told Soo-hyuk about her feelings for him. As their conversation continues, Soo-hyuk is seen approaching the class president. It becomes clear that he is interested in her. When he asks if she would like to spend some time with him, she responds calmly and without hesitation. She explains that the only reason she became class president was because her mother made a donation to the school. Because of that, she feels that no one truly respects her. For this reason, she believes it's better to stay focused on her studies and not get distracted. Suddenly, the story takes a darker turn. The same group of boys known for causing trouble is seen walking toward the school doctor. Without warning, the doctor lunges and bites one of them directly on the face. At first, the students think it's a joke, but when a nearby teacher notices what's happening, panic spreads quickly. Screams echo through the halls as students scatter in fear. The bitten boy transforms into a zombie within moments and begins attacking others, spreading the infection rapidly. Elsewhere, the girl whose video had been recorded earlier is approached by the same boy who was with her during the incident. He pleads with her not to do anything drastic, but she replies that ending her life feels like the only way out. She believes that if she doesn't, both of them will be seen as failures. In the middle of the growing chaos, Soo-hyuk and the class president begin running, trying to find a way to escape. Meanwhile, the school canteen, which had remained calm so far, becomes the next area affected. Anjo, still with her friend, suggests that maybe they should ask San for help, reminding her that San and Soo-hyuk are close friends. Anjo then approaches San and tells him how she feels about Soo-hyuk. But San, clearly hurt by the confession, refuses to help. As Anjo walks away, a large crowd of children suddenly rushes toward the canteen, their faces filled with fear. In the chaos, a mirror is shattered, and the children burst into the cafeteria, desperate to get inside. Behind them, a swarm of zombies is quickly catching up. Some of the children have already turned and are now attacking others. Chaos breaks out inside the canteen as students scream and run in every direction, completely overwhelmed by fear and confusion. Not far from the panic, a small group of kids continues playing a game, still unaware of the danger rapidly approaching them. At the same time, a tense meeting is underway in the principal's office. The staff agrees that everything happening within the school must remain a secret and should not be disclosed to the outside world. But one class teacher disagrees, insisting that the students must be evacuated immediately, as the situation is spiraling out of control. The principal refuses to listen, fearing that news of a zombie outbreak will ruin the school's reputation. Ignoring his warning, the class teacher walks out. She still doesn't realize just how dangerous the zombies are, or that an attack is already about to begin. At the same time, chaos erupts in the school canteen, where a zombie fight is underway. We see Anjo caught in the middle of it, and San steps in to save her. Students run in every direction, trying to stay alive. The zombies continue to spread, biting everyone in their path. Some students begin fighting back and spot an open window. A small group, including San and Anjo, use it to escape. But outside, things are just as horrifying. Zombies surround the school entrance and even the nearby park. San and Anjo climb onto a truck, using it to reach a classroom in another building. Yet, even there, danger follows. Zombies start climbing the stairs. In the schoolyard, the class president and Soo-hyuk stumble upon a ladder. San and Anjo manage to get away and return to their original classroom. Some students inside are still uninfected. After San and Anjo plead for help, the others allow them in. Soon, the class president and Soo-hyuk join them too. At the same time, Mr. Lee is being questioned by the police. A detective asks him a series of questions, trying to uncover what caused all this chaos. We learn that Mr. Lee was once a scientist working in a lab, but one day he suddenly resigned and became a school teacher. The detective curiously asks, "Why didn't you become a college lecturer?" That's when Mr. Lee begins sharing his story. He used to record videos, and now we see glimpses of his life like a documentary. Through them, we learn the real reason he created the virus. Mr. Lee's son was a quiet, timid boy. Hoping to make him braver, Mr. Lee conducted an experiment. He placed a cat and a mouse together. At first, the mouse behaved as expected, scared and nervous. But after a while, It stopped being afraid. Mr. Lee extracted the mouse's fearless genes and injected them into his son, believing it would make him courageous. But the experiment failed. Instead of becoming strong, his son transformed into a zombie. His first victim was his own mother. After that, both the boy and his mother had to be restrained. Meanwhile, the infected girl is taken to the hospital for examination. Doctors are still trying to understand the sick girl's condition. Suddenly, she turns into a zombie and attacks the medical staff. Meanwhile, a group of student athletes is returning to school on a bus. When they arrive, they're confused by the eerie silence and have no idea what's happening inside. In the classroom, the trapped students search through backpacks, desperately hoping to find a phone. If they can find just one, they might be able to call for help. One student tries to use Face ID by holding a phone up to a zombie's face. Anjo quickly says, "You don't need to unlock it to call emergency services." They dial the emergency number, but when they mention zombies, the police laugh, thinking it's a prank. Then, more calls start pouring in. First, someone from the hospital reports that people are biting each other. Soon, more students call, crying, panicked, and talking about zombies. Slowly, the police begin to realize something serious is happening. Anjo then calls the fire department and reports a fire in the school. That alert finally prompts them to respond and rush to the scene. Inside the classroom, a girl in a pink outfit, who had been silent until now, starts yelling. She turns to the class president and says, "Why don't you call your mom?" The class president replies, "Oh, now you remember me? All this time, none of you treated me like the class president. But now, when there's trouble, suddenly, you need me." The argument heats up, and San's friend becomes so angry that he nearly attacks her. Just then, a teacher walks into the room. Everyone thinks he's normal. He tells the students they need to block the room to stay safe. The kids begin helping, but Anjo and his friend Isak notice a bite mark on the teacher's hand. The teacher tries to cover it up. Anjo and Isak confront him and ask to see his hand. The teacher gets defensive and yells, "Why are you shouting at me?" In the end, the kids were right. The teacher was infected. He turned into a zombie and bit a girl, infecting her too. Now the students had only two options: leave the room or push out the infected teacher and girl. They decide to escape, but outside, zombies are everywhere. The boys quickly use the doors and windows to block the entrance. Still, it's not enough. The stairs and lobby are overrun with zombies. Finally, Anjo and Isak manage to open another room, and all the students who had been holding back the zombies rush inside. It turns out to be a science lab. But even there, the zombies are not far behind. Then, suddenly, Anjo remembers Suyok and asks where he is. Suyok had helped everyone many times before. He was brave and strong. We had already seen him fighting zombies and saving others. He wasn't just a good fighter, he was also an incredible athlete. But now, Suyok is missing from the group. Anjo turns to San and asks about him. San explains that Suyok told him to go ahead and stay safe with the others. Anjo begins to realize that maybe Suyok didn't make it. He might have turned into a zombie. Meanwhile, on the school rooftop, the same boy and girl stand together, silently watching their classmates turn into zombies. Then the scene shifts to the canteen, where a boy from the bully gang is desperately trying to save himself. But when a nearby girl makes a noise, he cruelly pushes her toward the zombies in order to escape. Elsewhere in the school, 3 students are hiding inside the girls' washroom. One of them is Park Mi-jin. She seems like someone who usually keeps to herself and doesn't have many friends. In another washroom, a boy and girl are also hiding. The girl says she isn't feeling well. Suddenly, Park Mi-jin comes out from her hiding place. She quickly pulls the boy out and sees that the girl inside is infected. Mi-jin slams the door shut to stop the infection from spreading. She knows that if she doesn't act fast, both she and the boy could die. She asks the boy to help her. As the infected girl tries to push the door open, Mi-jin hits her with a stick. It looks like she kills her, but zombies aren't that easy to kill. Just then, 2 students from the athletics club arrive. One of them, a girl, is holding a bow and arrow. She carefully takes aim, shoots the zombie, and kills it. But now, there's only 1 arrow left. Her friend, who is standing behind her, says that the 2 students in front are not infected. The scene changes, and we see the class teacher reach a place where she can finally make an announcement to the entire school. She begins to speak through the school's speakers. Her voice trembles with fear and confusion. She says she doesn't know what's going on, but if anyone can hear her, they should stay safe. If they find a way out, they should run home. If not, they should hide in a safe place where no one can find them. Everyone who was still safe and not infected could feel the fear and care in her voice. Then, we see a few short scenes of students who are still okay. We also see Anjo's father, who has now entered the school with a rescue team. Back in the classroom, Isak sits next to San. Even in such a terrifying moment, they talk about Anjo and Suyok. San already knew that Anjo liked Suyok, because she had told him before. Isak gently tells San not to be upset, but San is in a bad mood and doesn't say much. Later, Isak goes to talk to Anjo. Anjo says that no matter what happens, they are still together. She also says Soo-hyuk was a very kind person. While holding Isak's hand, she suddenly notices that her body feels cold. Then, blood starts dripping from her nose. Everyone understands what this means. Isak is infected too. She was bitten on her leg during the earlier zombie attack. Anjo doesn't want to leave her. She hugs her tightly, even though Isak is turning into a zombie. Isak begins to cry and says she's not infected and begs them not to kill her. But in the next moment, she fully turns and attacks Anjo. San quickly runs over and saves her. In the struggle, Isak slips and nearly falls off the building. But even then, Anjo doesn't let go of her hand. They had been best friends since childhood, and even in that terrifying moment, she couldn't let her go. Anjo remembers all their childhood memories. But finally, she lets go of Isak's hand, and Isak falls to the ground. Seeing this, Anjo breaks down in tears. Meanwhile, Soo-hyuk is still alive, but trapped in another room, trying to escape. He tries to slip away quietly, but a pencil drops to the floor, and the sound draws the zombies' attention. They begin to chase him. He reaches a window and climbs out, but instead of jumping, he carefully makes his way along the side of the building. San says the zombies are outside the gate and will be here soon, so they have to get out quickly. He finds a water pipe and decides to use it like a rope to climb down. San is about to go first, but stops when he sees Anjo. He asks another student to go first. As he descends, he looks down and sees the floor covered with zombies. Then, as he steps down further, he sees the class teacher, who quickly pulls the student inside through a window. The teacher shouted for them to come down quickly. One by one, the students begin climbing down the pipe. Only San and Anjo are left. San begged Anjo to go next, but she refused. She said she had already lost Soo-hyuk and her best friend, the one she loved the most, and didn't want to live anymore. San pleaded with her to do it for her father. Finally, Anjo agrees and starts climbing down. San stays behind to make sure she gets down safely, because if they both go together, the pipe might break. Just then, zombies burst into the room and rush toward him. The scene shifts to an interrogation room, where Mr. Lee is being questioned. One of the investigators asks him about the virus and why he created it. Instead of giving a direct answer, Mr. Lee calmly poses a question of his own, asking what someone would be willing to do to protect their own child. The story then returns to the same girl who took a quick leave from school and left. This girl was pregnant, and she gave birth to a small child in the bathroom. The girl leaves the child in the washroom and walks away, but as soon as she steps outside, she finds the world around her in ruins. Then we see Soo-hyuk walking along the edge of the window, trying to keep himself safe. At the same time, he notices San, who is hanging from a rope and fighting off zombies. One zombie grabs San's leg. Soo-hyuk tells him to kick it, but San can't. So Soo-hyuk jumps to help him. He leaps towards San, and together they manage to get inside the room. Everyone is relieved that they are safe. After that, the girl in pink starts arguing with San's best friend and says some rude things to him. The teacher comes and stops the fight, telling them both not to use such bad language again. Then we see the woman who recently gave birth walking ahead. At the same time, cars start crashing on the road and people begin recording videos. Back in the classroom, a student gets the idea that if there's a computer here, there must be internet too. They think they can use it to send a message to the police and ask for emergency help. But then they find out that the zombie outbreak has spread across the city. Zombies are everywhere, so no emergency services can reach them. Suddenly, the water pipe the students use to climb down starts banging hard against the glass. It turns out a zombie is behind it and has made its way into the room. Everyone tries to push it back. San hits the zombie on the shoulder with a stick, but it doesn't die. Then San's friend grabs the CPU and smashes it into the zombie's face. But now the girl in pink thinks that San's friend has been bitten by the zombie because blood is coming from his nose. The scene now shifts to Anjo's father, who had arrived at a political event as part of the emergency response team. Many politicians were present, but one man had already been infected. People try to explain the situation to Anjo's father. A woman walks up to him and asks, "Have you informed anyone that I'm here?" This shows that she is a powerful politician in Korea. She quickly asked her assistant to send out a message and contacts a helicopter to come and pick her up. Meanwhile, during the struggle to hold down the infected man, one of the rescue team members gets bitten on the hand. The scene shifts back to the classroom, where because of the pink girl, all the students start to believe that San's friend is infected. But San's friend tells everyone, "Nothing happened to me. I'm fine. It's just a scratch on my hand." Everyone comes to check his hand and agrees that it's only a scratch. No one bit him, but the pink girl refuses to believe it. Because of this, San's friend feels hurt and says he'll stay alone. He locks himself in a room angrily and says he won't come out for an hour. And after that, everyone will be happy. The teacher tells the class that if the boy turns out to be healthy, then the pink girl must say sorry to him. The pink girl agrees and says, yes. Then, in the school kitchen, we see a boy from the bullies gang. He gave up 3 or 4 boys sitting near him to the zombies, just to protect himself. He did this so that the zombies wouldn't attack or kill him. He was only thinking about his own survival and had almost turned into a killer. Any zombie that came near him, he killed it just to stay alive. In the classroom, everyone is talking about what's happening. The boy who locked himself inside still hasn't shown any symptoms. Usually, people turn into zombies within 5 to 10 minutes. The teacher tries to calm the students and tells them that everything will be fine soon. San then walks over to Anjo and asks if she is fine. But Anjo is lost in thoughts about her friend Isak. Then we see San's parents, who had opened a restaurant named after San. While watching TV, San's mom sees breaking news about the virus spreading across the city. It reveals that more and more people are getting infected. After hearing this, she comes out of the house. Anjo's father gets a call from a doctor, who tells him that if a zombie bites someone, that person will also become a zombie. When Anjo's father looks at his rescue team, he sees that one of them is already infected. That person quickly turns into a zombie, and they have to tie him up. The city is now under high security, especially near the school. San's mother tries to go inside, but the guards stop her. They tell her it's not safe and she must leave. So San's mom goes away, but there are zombies on every road. The scene then moves to the washroom, where 4 students are already hiding. Mijin is a senior student, so she doesn't treat the juniors very nicely. This causes an argument between them. They start discussing whether they should leave the washroom or not, but everyone agrees that it's too dangerous to go outside right now. The scene then moved to the classroom. San was seen trying to contact his friend, saying that it had already been half an hour and he should come out now. But his friend replied that he wouldn't come out before the full hour passed, as he didn't want others to doubt him again. San then told his teacher to go and bring the boy out. The teacher went inside, but the boy still refused to leave. So, the teacher went to the girl in pink and told her it was now her turn to go in and apologize. However, the girl seemed very angry. Earlier, she had done something wrong. She had used a handkerchief to wipe a stick that had touched a zombie's shoulder. Later, she went to the boy and rubbed that same cloth on his hand. Everyone believed she was cleaning his wound, but in reality, she had cleverly mixed infected blood into his. The boy had stayed silent. She argued with him again and came out of the room. She did all this so that people would think the boy was still infected. By nightfall, nothing had happened to San's friend. People started accusing the girl of pretending to care, saying it was her fault the boy was locked inside for no reason. San's friend said he was feeling fine, but soon it became clear that he was also starting to turn into a zombie. The scene then shows a clip from Mr. Lee's documentary. He was explaining that it was the 26th day, and he was still discovering new things each day. He shared that if infected blood enters another person's body, it begins to attack the healthy cells. The infected cells then fight against the original body's cells, and slowly the whole body becomes infected. At the same time, San's friend began to cry. He was saying that he wasn't infected and asked everyone not to be afraid of him. But one by one, the others started to move away from him. The boy felt terrible. He kept thinking to himself, how could he be infected? He told the others that he would leave on his own, and reminded them that they were his friends, and he would never want to hurt them. San also broke down in tears. This friend meant a lot to him and had a special place in his heart. The boy walked toward a room to lock himself inside, but just then, his body started changing. He was turning into a zombie. Without warning, he began attacking the others. San quickly moved toward the window and tried to get his friend's attention. In the process, his friend lost balance and fell out of the window. We now see a girl who has just given birth to her baby. She finds herself in the same frightening place once again. Holding her newborn, she tries to escape, but it becomes clear that someone has already bitten her hand. She is infected too. Knowing what might happen, she carefully finds a safe spot for her baby. She places a chair around the child to protect it and bind her own hands and feet. She does this so that if she turns into a zombie, she won't be able to hurt her baby. After some time, the infection takes over, and she becomes a zombie. But because her hands are tied, she cannot reach the child. Meanwhile, all the politicians were sitting together in an office. They were also stuck and couldn't go anywhere, as they had no way to contact any services. This showed that even they were trapped in one place, with no way out. In the classroom, the girl in pink tried to defend herself. She told everyone that if she hadn't shared this information, the boy would have killed them all. Even now, she didn't seem sorry for what she had done. At that moment, the class president stood up, clearly furious. She began scolding the pink girl and told everyone that she had seen everything with her own eyes. While everyone had been looking at the boy, the pink girl had come from behind, cleaned the stick, and collected the zombie's blood in a handkerchief. Then she had entered the room and pressed that same infected cloth onto the boy's hand. After saying this, she slapped the pink girl. The pink girl denied it and claimed she hadn't done anything like that. She even said she would now use that same handkerchief on her own wounds. But by now, everyone knew the truth. They realized the cloth was infected, and if she used it, she too would turn into a zombie. Before she could do anything, the teacher stopped her. Everyone was shocked to learn that the pink girl had purposely infected the boy, someone who had been a kind and innocent classmate. Their anger grew, and they were ready to attack her. But the teacher quickly stepped in and calmed them down. The pink girl then broke down in tears. She said she had no friends and felt all alone. After that, she opened the door and walked out. The teacher stopped the rest of the students from going after her. He reminded them that their goal was to protect each other, not to kill anyone. He told them that no matter what, they must all try to save one another's lives. After calming the class, the teacher stepped outside to look for the pink girl. All the children sitting inside were angry. They were upset because of the pink girl. She ran through the hallway crying the whole time. The zombies noticed her and realized there was a normal person nearby. Then, the teacher stepped forward to try and save her. This city has now become a zombie land, and the news has reached many other cities. For this reason, some vloggers arrived there to make a vlog. However, many of them thought it was a joke and casually suggested going to see the zombie, treating it as if it were something worth watching. A vlogger arrives in this city with full preparation and after struggling and climbing the mountains. As the night prevailed, this same vlogger was in a bad condition because he had finally seen zombies and they were everywhere. As he continued recording, all the subscribers of this vlogger were commenting funny on it. His subscribers think that this vlogger is only making a fake video and there were no zombies around. Now San's mom, who was also around this school at that time, was also trying to escape from there. In the classroom, everyone is sad because nobody came to save them. San and Anjo talk to each other about their lost friends. As San's mom reaches inside the school garden, she meets San's best friend and asks him to guide her to other children trapped there. She also inquires about her son, who is also trapped inside. On the other hand, San tells Anjo that his family will be fine and that they will be inside the restaurant at this time and will be safe. Anjo tells him that his father must also be looking for him. But little did they know that on the other side, San's mom is attacked by a zombie. A lot of zombies together infect her. When they were all sitting together, they talked about how no one had heard the zombie yet. Some of these people felt that it was good that they left, and some felt bad that they did not tell them to go from here. But even if they have left, then it is their own decision. Now they can't even go out of here at night, so it means that they will all have to stay here tonight. These two students were still on the roof. The same things were still going on in this boy's mind that he should tell this girl about the video made by Insu. However, the boy did not inform the girl that the video would be released the following morning. Everyone was stuck waiting, but when nature calls, you've gotta go. That's when Anjo told him about some survival tips her dad had shared. If you ever get stuck in a situation like this, always find a way to make a temporary washroom. A boy jokingly says that we will sit on the window facing opposite. But where will the girls go at that time? On the other hand, we see the hall of the politician, where Anjo's father says that you all wait here. I will go to the school. On the other hand, preparations began to make a temporary washroom in the classroom. They had a recording room there, and they covered it with a few things to make it a washroom. On the other hand, Anjo's father also made a temporary washroom for these people. The president informs everyone that if they do not leave from here, then we will be stuck here for almost 3 days, after which they will become weak and dehydrated. Everyone says that they are already scared, so there is no need to talk about this. The president also tells them that the lights of the building front are not switched on. If that light was on, then maybe they would have some sort of hope, but unfortunately, they have no hope now. On the other hand, Anjo's father tells this politician that they all have to wait here until he reaches there. But the politician could not put her own life in danger, so she also talks about all the people who are stuck in this room as all their homes are nearby, but she can't give permission to let them leave. And she questions them into choosing amongst his duty or daughter. After that, Anjo's father cannot leave this place. Now Enzo is here, who is running to save his life. Then he got hold of a cycle, but there was still a zombie army behind him. Enzo somehow gets into a room, and that room was not of anyone else, but of the school principal. These people are sitting in the bathroom. One of them is Park Mijin, and she is accompanied by an athlete. Here, Mijin says that they should go out of here now since it is quite late, and no one could see them in the dark of the night. Then the athlete and the boy sitting next to him say that we will not be able to see any zombies in the dark of the night. On the contrary, they can also attack them, so they should wait until morning. Maybe a rescue team will come. or they can also come out in the light. After which there is a debate between the athlete and Mijin, and thereafter both their hands also burn. This poor vlogger that arrived in the city to make a vlog about the zombie hype ends up running here and there to save his life. Then he reaches inside a play school, where he first witnesses silence everywhere, but moments later, there are zombies with small children everywhere, and they start attacking him. The detective has now found out about the deteriorating condition of the whole city. He is very angry with Mr. Lee and blames him for causing it. He complains to him that those people are also in danger who were innocent. He is furious with Mr. Lee for creating the virus. Then here, Mr. Lee talks about his son Gyeong-soo, who was in such a bad condition that he was ready to cut his hand. Mr. Lee tells him how he complained to the principal, and all the parents were called. Then all the people made fun of it. All the children said that this is a joke between the children, but no one took Gyeong-soo seriously. Mr. Lee then spoke to the principal, who said that the police didn't need to be involved. He was asked to not create a fuss about the situation. On top of that, they created a scene about Mr. Lee's profession, that he had been thrown out of a university. It meant that no one was helping Mr. Lee, so he took Gyeong-soo out of the school, but the students still did not stop haunting Gyeong-soo. One night when Gyeong-soo came to his house crying, Mr. Lee got very angry and told Gyeong-soo that he must fight back. After that, Gyeong-soo thought about committing suicide, after which Mr. Lee could not stop himself, and he injected the same virus inside his son. Detectives get very angry at Mr. Lee and asks for a cure. Mr. Lee does not say anything about it and tells his experience. It had been 46 days since Mr. Lee's son Gyeong-soo and his wife were turned into zombies. They could not be cured. Detectives here tell Mr. Lee that this place is going to be emptied soon, so they need to get out of there soon. But even after coming out of there, the atmosphere was not good. Even there, the zombies had started attacking. Mr. Lee was inside the room, but when he came out and saw what was happening around, he started laughing. All the people who did not do well with his son have now come in the grip of this deadly virus. After that, Mr. Lee decides to correct his mistake. He tells the detective that he will have to go to the Hyosan School to get the antidote. The laptop is lying inside the science lab, in which he will get the antidote. And after that, Mr. Lee takes all the zombies on himself so that the detective can run away from here. And now, only the detectives were those who knew where the antidote could be found. Mr. Lee, who had made this virus himself, could not stop it and turned into a zombie. After going out, the detectives try to escape from every place. The detective locates a policeman who has not yet contracted the virus and takes him along towards the Hyosan School. The next morning, the students looked into the park to find a rescue team, but no one had arrived yet to save them. Mujin, an athlete, realized that they must find a way to escape now. No one was coming to save them. Now athlete tells them that they will have to go to the second floor because his brother was there. Mujin asserts that his brother must have turned into a zombie by now. For this reason, they should run straight from here, but athlete is adamant that they must go to the second floor. Meanwhile, the other kids in the class wonder, how can we escape? Then they get the idea that they should call the emergency once again. Maybe everyone is thinking that there is no one left in this school. According to Suyok, the teacher kept all of their phones. Now they must go to that room and take their phones. Next, San prepares himself and exits the room independently. Suyok then goes with San to assist him. On the terrace, these girls begin sobbing loudly because this boy did not tell the girl that a nude video of her has been scheduled. This was scheduled for 9 o'clock in the morning. This girl says that if he had told her earlier, then maybe she would have broken all the phones. This girl tells this boy that now he will have to come with her for help. The boy clearly refuses to accept that because going down will be very dangerous. Besides, who would watch her video at this time? But this girl says the opposite to this boy. She expresses her desire for both life and death. After that, the girl goes out alone to find her phone. Here, San and Suyok were moving forward through the window and saw zombies in every window. Because of this, they reached the classroom while hanging, but there was a zombie inside it too. As soon as they saw the girl who came down from the terrace, the zombies attacked this girl too. But still, this girl was not completely a zombie. She was still conscious. Because of this, she goes out to find the phone. Here, San and Suyok save their lives and see that no zombies can be seen from here and there. Then they hear something breaking. We see that this girl is getting infected, but still, she is sitting and breaking all the phones. Anyway, San and Suyok only needed one phone so that they could call the emergency. One phone fell down, and as soon as San pulled this phone towards him, this girl's eyes pierce through them, and she threatens to kill them all. San sees another phone here which is workable, and he says to Suyok to get out of here, and he will meet him straight up. On the other hand, Enzo was sitting here with the principal. The principal gives Enzo the key to his car and says to go quickly and bring his car. Enzo says, "Who are you giving the order to? Now this whole school belongs to him." The principal says that I will throw you out of the school, but Enzo was getting too wild here. He threatens to kill the principal. Now on the other hand, the politicians and everyone else were taught that if you come out of the zone, then what must they do? These people remove the emergency water pipe, and along with this, they try to keep all the zombies away with the help of cupboards. As soon as the water starts sprouting out of the pipe, Anjo's father keeps these zombies busy and away from him, and tells everyone to try to go to the terrace with the help of stairs. At this moment, a rescue helicopter was poised to arrive and rescue everyone. These people also close the door, but due to the presence of numerous zombies, the door also breaks open. On top of that, a man comes down again and tells Anjo's father that there is a lock on the terrace door. The other members of the rescue team, including Anjo's father, go up and break the lock. Everyone starts going up. Ultimately, it was Anjo's father who struggled to contain all the zombies. After the door opened, everyone had reached the terrace. But this rescue team man was still waiting for Anjo's father. In the end, Anjo's father successfully came up alone through the stairs. Finally, these people had reached the terrace. The rescue chopper had also seen where these people were standing. Here, San had got the phone, but he was still running. From the garden to the classroom, from the classroom back to the school. And now, in the room which he had finally reached, there was Enzo and the principal in that room. Enzo had tied the principal's hands. San started recording with the video camera and asked the principal how long he planned to trouble others. The principal told San to untie him quickly, but Enzo, who had lost control, stepped toward San and asked what he could possibly do. He demanded San give him the phone. Then, right in front of San, Enzo killed the principal. San was terrified. He felt he should run away before Enzo tried to kill him too. Enzo chased San to take the phone. As soon as they stepped outside, they saw that zombies were everywhere. Enzo threw a knife at San. Meanwhile, the group continued their mission despite the chaos. A girl who was skilled at archery was trying to find her brother. She fought zombies on the first and second floors with the help of her friends, but she couldn't find him. Back in the classroom, the remaining students waited in silence. They slowly began to realize that no help was coming. Their only options were to escape or be infected. At the same time, a politician, who had earlier been saved by Anjo's father, their helicopter arrived at the terrace and began evacuating the people with her. In another part of the city, the president's mother received heartbreaking news. The entire city had fallen to the zombie outbreak. This disaster caused a nationwide emergency. Markets crashed suddenly and panic spread across the country. It was reported that the stock market had completely collapsed and the situation in Korea was getting worse. Some people started protesting, saying that no one from Korea should be allowed to enter their city. They believed people from the infected city could spread the virus, thinking it might pass just by touch. While the world was panicking, some boys were treating the situation as a joke. One of them began scaring people on a train and recording videos for fun. A major conference was held to decide what actions needed to be taken. Forces had already been deployed, but a big concern remained. How would they control the chaos spreading through social media? In the classroom, Anjo was still waiting for San and Suyok to return together. But when Suyok arrived alone, she asked him where San was. San was now running away from Enzo. Both of them reached the library and found a boy inside who was not infected. San and Enzo tried to climb up a bookshelf. The boy tried to push San down, but instead, Enzo ended up pushing the boy. Enzo followed San and quietly told him to hand over the phone. He asked San to delete the video he had recorded, or else he would be forced to act. San replied that Enzo was a bad person and that he would expose his truth to everyone. A fight broke out between the two. Enzo was about to push San off the shelf, but San turned things around, and Enzo fell instead. However, Enzo survived the fall. San then hit Enzo in the eye with the mobile phone and quickly escaped. At the same time, the girl who had been on the terrace for a long time was shown again. She had been bitten by a zombie but hadn't fully turned yet. As San ran along the bookshelf trying to escape, he slipped, fell, and got buried under it. Even then, he somehow managed to survive and crawled out. He later hid inside a water pipeline to stay safe. Meanwhile, another group of survivors reached the first aid room. They tried to use the computers to contact someone for help, but there was no internet or working emergency lines. The phone San had was also running very low on battery. Elsewhere, during a conference, a major revealed that all emergency lines had been shut down to stop prank calls on social media. This was why San couldn't even make an emergency call from his phone. He was stuck, unable to escape or ask anyone for help. Back in the classroom, some girls were talking about how Anjo and San used to date. Hearing this, Suyok went to Anjo and said he felt terrible for leaving San behind. He believed he should have brought him along. Anjo thought to herself that she couldn't afford to lose San now. One of her friends had already died, and she didn't want to lose another. So, she decided to find a drone previously made a student. She planned to find the remaining parts of the drone in the science lab. The class president asked if finding those parts would even help. Anjo replied that maybe it wouldn't, but at least she would know what happened to San, and that would give her peace. Everyone in the class discussed who should go to the science lab. A boy agreed to go with Anjo because he knew where the rest of the drone parts were kept. Finally, Anjo and the boy left together to find them. Elsewhere, two girls talked about what their parents might be doing at that moment. But they both knew the harsh truth. There was probably no one left in the city who hadn't turned into a zombie. Next, we see a detective and a police officer. They were not only trying to save their own lives, but also had a mission to reach the school. On the way, they spotted a car and tried to use it, but because of a sudden zombie attack, they couldn't drive. So, they ran to the nearest building, which turned out to be a restaurant owned by San. As soon as they reached the entrance, a zombie with only one hand appeared. Inside the restaurant, the police officer noticed a small child. The detective went closer and saw that the child wasn't infected yet, but he was crying loudly and looked dehydrated. The detective asked the officer to check the fridge for some milk. Meanwhile, Anjo was in the science lab. A white-colored rat, the same kind that had turned others into zombies, climbed onto her foot. Elsewhere, the class president and Suyok were still waiting for Anjo and talking, showing their concern for each other. San, on the other hand, was in serious trouble. He was trapped in a room, unsure of what to do. San knew that if he made even the slightest noise, the door might open and the zombies would come in. Terrified, he stood still, trying to stay calm. As fear overwhelmed him, memories of everything he had gone through came rushing back. But instead of giving up, he took a deep breath, gathered his courage, and held the door shut with all his strength. Despite the zombies closing in, he managed to find a way out and escape. Anjo and the boy returned to the classroom with all the drone parts. They quickly assembled the drone and attached a note asking for help. Anjo then told him to launch it. As the drone flew into the air, the students watched and realized something horrifying. There was no one left in the school except zombies. At the same time, Mijin appeared. She thought they should stop searching for the athlete's brother and focus on escaping. But the athlete girl said they should go to the archery room. There was an emergency phone there that didn't require a network and could directly contact the military. The group of four then planned to jump down from the first floor. They helped each other and made the jump safely. The athlete girl even hit a zombie as she escaped. Meanwhile, the drone was flying overhead and recording the area. It showed countless zombies wandering around. As the students looked at the drone footage, one of the boys noticed something strange, an arrow stuck in a zombie. Curious, he asked them to zoom in on the screen and wondered how the arrow had ended up there. That's when the truth came out. The athlete girl and the boy were actually siblings. She had been searching for her brother all along, and now the boy realized his sister was still alive. The drone eventually spotted her. Then came another surprise. The footage showed a farmer who had also survived and was not infected. With new hope, the group decided to send the drone even farther, praying that someone would see it and come to rescue them. But as the drone flew beyond the school grounds, the scenes it captured only showed more destruction and despair. There was car accidents scattered across the streets. Amid the wreckage, one of the group members noticed a car that looked like her parents'. Everyone tried to stay hopeful, saying it was possible the car was empty. But when the drone camera zoomed in, the truth became painfully clear. Her parents were inside, and they had been infected. Seeing this, the girl broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. Elsewhere, the politician had finally been rescued and brought to a quarantine center. The facility had strict security, and no one received special treatment. His political status was ignored completely. He was kept in a room with other people, and the staff made it clear that he wouldn't be moved until his test results came back. The scene then shifted to a library where Enzo was hiding. By now, he should have turned into a zombie like the others, but strangely, he hadn't. When the zombies approached, ready to attack, they suddenly stopped. They sniffed him, then backed away. Enzo looked down at himself, completely confused. He couldn't understand what was happening. Was he infected or not? Meanwhile, a documentary was being shown again, featuring Mr. Lee. In the video, he explained that some viruses, once inside the human body, could turn a person into something like him, technically a zombie, but still capable of thinking and acting like a human. The virus, he said, had originally been created to make weak people stronger. But he raised an important question. What happens when someone who is already strong and naturally cruel gets infected? They become far more dangerous. That, he explained, was why the virus remained active in his body, continuing to influence his behavior. At that moment, San was still safe. But when Enzo woke up, he noticed that no zombies were coming near him. He was fully conscious and in control. After changing into clean clothes, he felt a sudden surge of anger towards San. Without Without hesitation, he started running, determined to find him and take revenge. Meanwhile, Mr. Lee, who had spent years studying zombies, had finally decided to create a cure, an antivirus. He was shown writing down the ingredients for the formula. Somewhere else, a boy was sitting on a rooftop trying to signal a helicopter for help. He waved his hands and used visual signs, hoping to be seen. At the same time, the girl who had been bitten earlier, but hadn't fully turned into a zombie, was shown again. According to one of Mr. Lee's theories, some people only get partially infected, and their transformation never completes. She appeared to be one of those rare cases. The scene then shifted to the machine room, where the whole team was running toward the archery room. San was still trying to survive. He was shown fighting off a zombie with all his strength. In the middle of the struggle, he found a camera. Then came a surprising twist. The pink girl reappeared. Somehow she had survived once again, and was safe, at least for now. In a flashback, the girl who had earlier seen her parents get infected was shown again. She had become deeply emotional and hopeless. Overcome with grief, she walked toward the window with the intention of jumping, but her friends rushed to stop her. They reminded her that no one knew for sure if their families were safe. The girl replied that at least they still had hope, something she no longer had. Her parents had turned into zombies right in front of her eyes. Anjo then took the girl into another room so they could talk in private. There, they came to a quiet understanding. They had no hope left for their families, but they could still choose to live for each other. As the girl cried loudly, she suddenly rested her head on the table. That's when the microphone unexpectedly turned on, and her voice echoed through the speakers. The students sitting outside the room heard everything. Namra, the class president, quickly thought of an idea. She drew a rough plan on the table and explained that if they used the speaker system to create loud noise, it might distract the zombies long enough for them to reach San through the back route. The only problem, they had nothing to play. There was an old CD, but she wasn't even sure if it still worked. First, they rushed to the recording room and activated the mic, hoping their voices would reach everywhere. It worked. San heard them. Suyok spoke into the mic, telling San that they were coming to get him and asking him to stay where he was. But when San tried to shout back, warning them not to come because it was too dangerous outside, his voice didn't reach them. In the end, Anjo told San to just stay where he was. San, though hesitant, stopped moving and stayed in place. Enzo also heard his voice. Encouraged, the group left the room to go find him. Once the music began playing over the speakers, the zombies were drawn to one side of the building, but one zombie still stood right outside their classroom. The group managed to get out, but while doing so, someone made a small noise. That was enough, and the zombie started chasing them. In the chaos, Suyok decided to stay behind. He told everyone else to go ahead and promised he'd catch up. He fought the zombie, and just in time, Enzo arrived and struck down the zombie, saving him. Suyok sensed that something was off, but Enzo didn't appear to be infected. But when he questioned him about San's whereabouts, Suyok insisted that he had no idea and warned Enzo not to harm San. Enzo grew furious at this, and a violent fight broke out between the two. Namra arrived just in time to defend Suyok, but it was already too late. Enzo, who had been infected, bit Namra during the struggle. In a moment of panic, Suyok pushed Enzo out of the window, but Namra was infected. The scene then shifted to Mijin's group, who had finally reached the archery room. Inside, they discovered that one of Mijin's friends had a knife, but he was also badly injured. The athlete girl tried calling for help, but the emergency lines were no longer working. Meanwhile, the rest of the group had found San. Without wasting time, San rushed to find Anjo. Anjo soon realized that Suyok had been left behind again. But a moment later, Suyok entered the room with Namra in his arms. One of the girls noticed a bite mark on Namra's hand, and they all understood what it meant. She had been infected. This meant that Namra would soon turn into a zombie. The scene then shifted to the quarantine center, where the grim reality was revealed. That all these people were placed in a cramped room that lacked even basic facilities. People argued over access to the washroom, and food wasn't reaching everyone properly. Even the doctors were uncertain about the scale and nature of the infection. Anjo's father was talking to the politician. He asked when they would be allowed to leave the quarantine center. The politician said he didn't know, and that he was also stuck like everyone else. After hearing this, Anjo's father made up his mind. He had to escape and save his daughter. Just then, 2 guards came into the room with food. Anjo's father asked one of them how long they would have to stay there. The guard said he wasn't sure, maybe a month. Without waiting, Anjo's father attacked the guard and knocked him out. His friend from the rescue team also hit the second guard. The politician said they should not have done that, but Anjo's father told him to handle things now because saving his daughter was more important. He wore the guard's uniform and quietly stepped out to begin his escape. Meanwhile, back in the classroom, things were were very tense. San, who never trusted Namra, told her to leave the room, but Anjo and Suyok stood by her. They didn't want her to go. San kept shouting that she must leave. Namra felt very hurt. She thought everyone was leaving her alone. San then said he had seen a zombie bite Anjo. He believed Anjo had turned, and since Anjo had bitten Namra, it meant Namra was infected too. But Suyok tried to explain. He had fought Enzo too, but he didn't act like a zombie. Anjo tried to calm everyone down. She said maybe both were right. If he hadn't turned, then maybe Namra wouldn't either. The pink girl sat quietly in the room listening to everything. Suyok held Namra's hand tightly. He didn't want to let her go. Namra, filled with emotion, said he never even said her name before, and now he was acting like he couldn't live without her. She walked to the window. She said she would jump if things got worse, but Suyok stayed close to her. He wouldn't let her be alone. San stood nearby, holding a stick. He was angry. Anjo tried to stop him, but he shouted back, saying she only supported Namra because she liked Suyok. Even though Enzo was bitten, he hadn't turned into a zombie yet, but Namra looked worse. Her body was changing. She had started craving human. San had seen this and moved toward her to attack, but Suyok saved her. San said that Namra had turned into a zombie and should be removed. But just then, Namra suddenly looked normal again. Her eyes were clear, her body calmed down. She seemed human. Anjo stepped in and stopped the fight. She told everyone to notice something important. Namra's body was still warm. Real zombies had cold, dead bodies. Then Namra spoke. She said something was definitely wrong. She felt like she wanted to bite Suyok. That meant she had zombie-like symptoms. Anjo remembered something from a movie. Sometimes people who got infected didn't fully turn into zombies. At the same time, Enzo was shown lying outside the building. He had fallen, but was still alive. They were in a strange condition. Infected, but still acting like normal humans. Namra realized that maybe both San and Suyok were right in their own way. The classroom was still tense. One girl stood up and said Namra shouldn't stay with them. To stop the fear and judgment, Suyok tied Namra's hand to his own. He didn't say much, but this showed he still trusted her. The scene then shifted to San's restaurant. The detective and police officer were getting ready to leave. The detective had kept the child in his jacket. As soon as they went outside and tried to start a scooter, a huge group of zombies began moving toward them. In the crowd, a small girl appeared too. She was walking straight toward them. Since there was no safe way to escape, they decided to return to the restaurant and took the little girl along with them. The little girl began crying loudly and pointed at a group of zombies. It became clear that her parents were among them. The detective held the girl and tried to calm her. He didn't know what to do anymore. Meanwhile, the students hadn't eaten or drunk anything for many days. Hunger was making them weak. In the same building, the pink girl was hiding in a room that had food and water. She could have shared it, but she stayed silent and didn't come out. Suddenly, the students started talking about the pink girl. They said she had something to do with how everything started. Some blamed her, saying the zombie outbreak began because of her actions. She was in the small room and could hear everything. Feeling upset and hurt, she locked the door from inside. At the same time, Anjo's father was trying to escape from the quarantine zone. He climbed a wall to break out. His rescue teammate asked him to wait and take him along, but Anjo's father left him. When a guard tried to stop him, he attacked the guard and kept going. Back in the classroom, the students guessed there might be food behind the locked door, but they couldn't open it. They were tired, hungry, and hopeless. With no help coming, they started recording video messages, hoping someone might find them one day. They said no one had come to save them. Time passed. Hunger became worse. One student, unable to take it anymore, started knocking on the locked room's door, but the sound attracted zombies. The zombies gathered outside the room, making it too dangerous to continue. The students gave up on opening the door. They kept recording messages to tell their story. When Anjo's turn came, she looked at the camera and left a message for her father. She said she loved him and always believed he would come to save them. Meanwhile, her father was still trying to escape. He ran through the area, dodging soldiers. Suddenly, the army started firing at him. He jumped into a river to escape, but a bullet hit him. He was bleeding badly, but kept running, hoping he could still reach his daughter. Anjo remembered her father with tears in her eyes. But will he reach her daughter before it's too late? Don't miss what happens next. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss next part.